Folks, if I told you that I am a giant Transformers fan, and I mean giant Transformers fan. I've got so many Transformers, I've got multiple Optimuses, I've got multiple Megatrons, and I've got Transformers all over my house. There's a couple behind me, there's some on the shelf over there, I got ones in my room. So when I heard years ago that Netflix was partnering up with Rooster Teeth to come out with a 3D CG animation of Transformers dealing with the war on Cybertron, you can imagine I was excited. Transformers War on Cybertron is a trilogy series that Netflix is bringing out. Now the first part has launched as of July 30th of 2020, and it is called Siege. This is basically the final hours of the Autobots on Cybertron. Now before I go any further, if you have not watched this and you do not want to be spoiled, stop the video right now. Go watch the 6 episodes. They're a half an hour each, so it's 3 hours to kill. I'll sit here and wait. Okay, you back? Good. Let's get to it. What I love about this version of Transformers is there is no humans. There is no Sam. There is no kid that gets adopted. There's no Mark Wahlberg. There's no freaking humans. I'm sorry. I have loved Transformers since I was a kid, but one of the things I always not hated but really didn't think was necessary was the humans. I'm sorry. Yes, the original Transformers was on Earth, so of course you had to have humans and blah, 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 blah. But I really, as I grew up, kind of realized I didn't need the humans. I just wanted Autobots versus Decepticons. And luckily, that is what we got in this. Now, as I stated earlier, Siege is part 1 of this trilogy that Netflix and Rooster Teeth are bringing out to you. Being that it's the last, basically couple days that the Autobots are going to be on planet Cybertron, Megatron is trying to eradicate the Autobots. Optimus Prime is trying to do everything he can to stop Megatron and save as many robots as he can. And the planet is going to hell. I love this. It is not a pretty planet. And I mean, they've been doing war for a long, long time. So as you can imagine, Cybertron and the Transformers of this planet are all fucked up. Now when I say fucked up, I'm just not meaning, oh, there's a simple bruise or the paint is a little worn. No, no, no. As you watch this series, you come to realize every Transformer, be it Autobot and Decepticon, is scarred in their own way. You've got Optimus, whose glass chest area looks like it's cracking. Megatron has got scrapes on him. You see Autobots in an infirmary with damaged limbs, melted servos, stuff like that. There's even a scene in this show where Ultra Magnus, and depending on which universe of Transformers you follow, it's either Optimus's brother or basically closest military confidant, which that's the one they went through with this one. He gets tortured by shockwave, by electrocution to a point where basically body parts exploded off. And I mean, thigh muscles and leg parts and the shoulder things, they exploded off because of how much electricity he was pumping through them. This was not your friendly-go-lucky Transformers. There were Transformers who were getting shot, having their head blown off, having holes put through them. This was how I always wanted to see Transformers. Not on Earth, but gritty and dark. Now you might be wondering where they got the inspiration for this version of Transformers. Well, back in 2010, I believe it was, there was a PlayStation Transformers War on Cybertron, and there was a book series of Transformers that basically dealt with Cybertron. It is a combination of the books, the game, and the Generation 1 Transformers from back in the 80s, which I myself think is a very good combination of the three. One of the things that I always kind of didn't like about the latest version of Transformers is they tried to make them slick. sleek, more humanish. Where back in the old G1, they were still blocky and big and bulky. They were machines. This one went back to the old school. So you had Autobots that actually looked like their toy counterparts, where you would see them transformed in their humanish form, but there would still be the big back piece that looks like the hood of a car, which I enjoyed. And one of the other things that I enjoyed of this series was some of the changes that they added in. First of all, Bumblebee is not an Autobot in this. He is what they call a scavenger. He is someone that you hire to go find energon or parts or something. He didn't try to take sides. And thank God they got away from that whole Michael Bay radio sounding bullshit. No. B has got a voice in this anime, which I am so happy for. And luckily, it's got the sarcastic sass that I remember from the 80s. Another change was Sound Blaster. Now, if you're not familiar with a lot of Transformers, Sound Blaster was basically the Autobot equivalent of Soundwave. In the backstory, they never really told why they looked the same. We all know why they did. It was so they could sell toys. In this one, they decided to put a backstory to it. Basically, Sound Blaster was a failed clone experiment of Soundwave, which I thought was just perfect. Also, another thing, a lot of people don't know the backstory of Jetfire. Originally, he was a Decepticon. A lot of people only know him as an Autobot and the old cranky guy from the Michael Bay movies. But I remember reading up in some of the books and some of the comics that he started out as a bad guy and eventually turned good because he was a very honorable person. They put that in here, which I thought was a glorious addition because that was needed. And now, can we talk about the depth of knowledge that the researchers put into this series? They were pulling out old school Transformers that you almost never hear about anymore. Like I told you, there was Ultra Magnus, Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Shockwave, Megatron, Starscream. Those are all the basics. But then you were pulling out ones like Omega Supreme, the Guardians. There was Alpha Triad, Teletron 1, which is the computer to the original Ark, that the spaceship that they went on. It was there. They are going old school, which I thought was just perfect. Now, I don't have many complaints about this series because I actually felt like I was watching real robots. They weren't ninjas moving around. You could actually see the mass. The only thing, which is not really a bad thing in my opinion, it's something personally that I just don't like, and I know I have to get over that. Peter Cullen was not the voice of Optimus Prime in this, which I thought sucked. The person that did it has been doing Optimus Prime in the TV series shows since 2018. His name is Jake Forshee. I hope I pronounced that right. And like I said, he's been doing it for the last 2 to 3 years on the TV series. He does a very good Optimus Prime. He kind of sounds like a younger Peter Cullen in my opinion. I'm just so used to Peter Cullen that when I heard the voice, my brain went, So I'm kind of hoping maybe with the other installments, with Optimus Prime being older in the later installments, maybe Peter Cullen will come in having the more gruffish kind of voice, but that's just personally my opinion. And can we talk about Megatron? I'm sorry. One of the things I've always loved from the book series and from the 2010 War on Cybertron game was the backstory on why Megatron went into this war. A lot of people forget that in the original comics, it was just, he's the bad guy, he's a gun, he's evil, and that's the only reason you found him. You never knew why he did this. In like the books and the game and a lot of backstories, Megatron did not like the class system that was on Cybertron because the way that he was born to be a gladiator in the ring to basically be sport so the higher-ups can watch and be entertained. He didn't like that. He didn't like that fellow robots of his class were being sent to the mines to work and didn't get to be privileged like all the others. And between him and Optimus Prime, when he was known as Oron Pax, and Ultra Magnus, they originally started trying to change the class, but eventually because Megatron was power hungry, he became as he was. I love the fact that they introduced that into this because I think more people need to know about that because it just puts more depth into Megatron's character. Right now, the Netflix series has only got chapter 1, which is Siege, which is only 6 chapters, 20-something minutes each chapter. You could blow it out in 3 hours. You could have made this a whole movie, but I think they did well chopping it up into episodes. The way they ended it is basically ending the arc on Cybertron. Optimus Prime and the Autobots that followed him on the arc escaped for Cybertron and took with them the Allspark or whatever title they gave it. It's basically the Allspark. They took it with them, they escaped, and now they're off Cybertron, which means it's going to eventually lead them to get to Earth. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the in-between story where it's them traveling to Earth, or if they're just going to, in the next one, be crashing on Earth and then hibernating like they did in the original series. I'm not sure how they're going to play that, but I really can't wait to see. I do not know when the next chapter is coming out, which kind of bums me. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that, but I cannot wait because if they can keep up with the quality of the animation and the characters that they have done, Rooster Teeth and Netflix will have another great 2 series for this Transformers trilogy that they're making, and hopefully, maybe, if we're lucky, get a whole movie done by these 2 companies that doesn't involve humans. But hey, that's just what I'm hoping for. Folks, I'm the Noob. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm excited by Transformers. I love Transformers. I will always love Transformers. And so I want to see more of this. I can't wait for the next chapter, and I'm going to be keeping my eye out. Have you decided to go watch this? I hope you did because I may have spoiled some things for you. And if I did, I apologize. But still, go watch this. You will enjoy it. I know I enjoyed it. And hell, if you got kids, make them watch it. They'll enjoy it too. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch y'all later the next time Transformers come around. See ya!